Hey everyone, it's Actual here. Just making this short video here to express my thoughts on the gargantuan Halo news that we got today. Now, there are a couple things I want to go to, namely the audio log that we got today from Hunt the Truth, and secondly, the two trailers that we received today from Microsoft regarding the story. The live action trailers that you have no doubt have seen by now. If you haven't, I will link them in the description, or just Google them. Jeez, it's something that everyone should see here. So let's start off with Hunt the Truth. Now, Hunt the Truth, of course, is something, not exactly an alternate reality game, but it's a storytelling experience that is made out to be a very important part of bringing everyone up to speed with the Halo games. Naturally, we are constantly being given a drip of information, which may have potentially resulted from people saying that Halo 4 didn't set up the backstory all that well, although in my opinion, I had fun in it because I was already well versed in the Halo lore. However, many people probably weren't thinking the exact same way, or probably didn't have the exact same experience. So I can understand to quite an extent why they would want to try something different. So this is where Hunt the Truth comes in, where we see a journalist by the name of Benjamin Giraud. Giraud, I think that's his name. I think he actually says his name. Now, we actually already know who Benjamin Giraud is. If you've seen things like Green Skull's videos, where he talks about the character, Giraud actually already has appeared in Halo literature, and that's in, of course, Halo the graphic novel, which I happen to own. Now, this is a hell of a callback to make, because the graphic novel was published in, let's see here. Oh, where's the date? 2006. 2006, wow. That's a hell of a callback to make. Because we're in the year 2015 right now, and we're calling all the way back. That's a 9-year period where you can bring the character back. And Giraud's character actually appears in Second Sunrise over New Mombasa, where, or I'll just flip open the thing here, where we actually see the character of the journalist that's mentioned here. If I can just get the screen out of the way. So if I can basically do that, this character here is meant to be Giraud, the journalist that works for the Office of Naval Intelligence. So we've actually already seen this character before, but now we're actually incorporating him much more into the lore in a way that I think is really, really neat, where we're taking original pre-343 lore and incorporating it into modern games, which is amazing because I never thought they would use that sort of information from that far back. So, as I stated before, these audio logs are intended to act as a sort of a background-filling lore storytelling experience where we're actually looking at the backstory of the Master Chief. And as we saw in episode 0, this was Giraud's own intent. Oh, and before I go on, of course, the Second Sunrise over New Mombasa was animated by a gentleman by the name of Jean Giraud, otherwise known as Mobius. He was a pretty talented artist who had a very distinct writing style, a very distinct artistry style, I should say, actually. And unfortunately, he died not too long ago. I don't remember the exact year, and I think that Ben's character is named in honor of Mobius. I mean, the fact that the character comes from the story that he did art for. So, very thoughtful on their part to incorporate a great artist into the Halo lore eternally. So what was I saying? Oh, yes. So we were moving on to episode 1. It was One Loose Thread. And the purpose of this was to give us sort of a good background information involving the Master Chief and his childhood on Eridanus 2. So Ben goes about interviewing people, and that's really, really cool because, of course, you actually have the interviewees that are actually put onto the show, shall we say, and he relives his conversations where he actually talks to one of John's school teachers when he was in primary school. And it's good because, of course, he's got the age sound to him, but he has that nice, kindly old uncle sort of personality. And I'll get to something in a second because we're going to go back to this, where we actually have confirmation of another scene that's actually canon during another interview process where we see one of John's neighbors that actually lived a few houses down from him, as it's stated in the audio log, where they were known to sometimes, like in summer nights and all that, their parents would let them go out and they would go to an empty lot, and an empty grassy lot where they would sit down and look at the skies. Where does this sound familiar?
what's up there. Like what? Maybe someone up there was wondering what it's like here.
That's right. The Starry Night is actually canonically something that has happened in the lore. I thought that was just a thing that was supposed to be fluff, or I thought that was supposed to be Kelly or Linda or something like that on Reach. But this is actually officially now incorporated into the lore, which is amazing. Because again, you're taking a pretty old thing, a pre-release trailer for Halo 3, and now you're bringing it back into the story, actually cementing it as something that actually happened. Next, you'll tell me that the whole Believe trailer was something that actually occurred as well, and you know what? They could probably find a way to fit it in there. Or shoehorn it or something, I don't know. So going back to what I was saying before, where John's school teacher, I think his name is Dion, I forget his last name, where the teacher also ran a wrestling ring, or not a wrestling, a boxing ring. That's what it was. And there's slight spoilers here, but I don't care. You can go look it up. Where of course he's saying, oh yeah, like John came up here. He was a very very strong kid, and he came here. He wanted to fight people. And I said, I look at him. I said, John, you're just in 6th grade. You're only 12, 13 years old. It didn't hit me right away, but then after a second, it was like 6th grade. 12 years old, that's not right. Because John was abducted when he was 6 years old. So here's another interesting part of things. I don't think they've gotten to this yet, but I think they might bring this up into the next episode, where Spartan candidates that were abducted from their homes were replaced with Flash clones. They were replaced with artificially grown humans that were intended to take their place and live out normal lives. Normal being something in the universe called metabolic cascade failure, which is where they essentially just die young deaths. Essentially. So that caught me off guard, because if they were supposed to die within months, these clones, John's clone was living at least a full 6 years after his disappearance. That's odd, because again, these were predicted to not last nearly as long as they have, and here's one alive, well, and able to take on like 2 older boxers and floor one of them, a medium weight, in 2 hits. That's interesting, because the clone itself was able to retain cognitive skills, but also to at least pass 6 more years of life, and then being able to retain physical strength, John's original physical strength, to floor another boxer. But the weird part is where Dion says, of course, that then he stopped showing up. Does that mean he died? Does that mean the clone died? I'm not too sure. Could be. Might not be. And later on in the log, where we hear different interviewees, I already mentioned John's neighbor, but there were also people that fled John City after it was glassed by the Covenant, and where they were detained by the Office of Naval Intelligence, ONI, in the games. And some of these people were held in conditions that were absolutely horrible. And it just puts a dark sort of edge on things, like how the Oni took on like the role of like a Stasi sort of thing, where they were questioning people, asking people like, what are the frequencies of this star system? Did you know this guy, or where were you on this date? And in the end, people were shoved into cargo containers to stay for weeks on end, some of them dying. It's dark, but it's so compelling because it makes you wonder. Because this is actually news to me, all this lore. Because, of course, anyone who's heavily invested into the Halo story knows these things. But there are differences. There are new elements that we're seeing, new depth, that are giving things new significance that we weren't aware of before. But now we are, and now it makes me wonder, just what else did we miss? This is just week 1, of course, but according to an uploaded document with that actually came from Mickey Sullivan from the Halo 4 Unto Dawn series. He survived 4 Unto Dawn, as you may or may not know, became a commander in the Office of Naval Intelligence, and was the one who actually set up the interview process for Jarod. And he's saying that oh, we set up like a 5-week engagement for you, and we're paying you 120,000 credits for it. So 5 weeks. That could mean 5 episodes of this audio series. Could be something else. I'm not too sure. This is really, really going well. Like, it also helps that we have Key from Key and Peele that's doing the audio work, the voice work, doing the talent for Giraud. And it's just great quality. I really think it's probably one of the best background things of all. And it's free. So you have no excuse not to watch it if you don't want to know the story. It's supplementary information, and it's going to help you. And since there's no paywall, like you don't have to buy a game or anything about this, or if you really want to, you can go to YouTube. Doesn't matter. You're going to get it for free anyway. Watch it. It's going to give you some interesting insight. I know I am going to be, because this has obviously threw me a couple curveballs. Now, of course, I'm going to be talking about the trailers that we got today regarding Halo 5 Guardians, where we actually got not one but two. We were actually only advertised one trailer, but then afterwards they said, oh, surprise, surprise, we're actually going to show 2 trailers tonight, so be ready for them. The first trailer, of course, is the one where Locke is approaching the Master Chief, and he's down, and he's basically wounded. I'll just link it into this video. You can watch it for yourself.
All hail the conquering hero. Let us remember him as our protector, and not the one who gave us this. As our savior, and not our betrayer. Let us see him forever as you, and not as you. All hail the conquering hero. The one who was supposed to save us all. But now I must save us from you.
Alright, so as you've seen there, it seems that there's a first of all, Mike Coulter has really stepped up his game from the Master Chief Collection where we saw that thing. So it might be a sign of things to come that he's redone the voice work, but he's also got very good pronunciation, very good stressing on the things that make sense. A very poetic, all hail the conquering hero sort of thing, where he really, really gets behind it, and he really shows a lot of power behind his words. He's really confident, but he's also very angry as well, because he's showing this destroyed environment. And, of course, Chief is lying there on the ground, very much wounded, hit by something. I don't know what it is, because it's not the DMR or battle rifle that Locke's carrying. It's definitely not the pistol. It might not be the grenade either. But he was punched in the shoulder by something. I don't know what it was. Could be a railgun. Some people hypothesized a railgun, but some people hypothesized, of course, that hard light weaponry. And I can't tell at this point. He could have been attacked by something else, for all we know. Pardon me. And in the upper right-hand corner of the screen when you watch the video, you're going to see the Infinity, who's that is on heavy fire. It's been hit by something. It's been hit hard, and I don't know if it's going to be coming back up. Now, there's no clue where Chief and Locke are, because, well, there's really really no hard evidence. But some people have postulated there's a piece of concept art that shows a cityscape, not to mention the Infinity, where a building looks the same, and I'll link the picture of that concept art, and then I'll basically explain it. So, the appearance of this landmark could mean that this is the same planet that we saw there before, and there was a human settlement. It certainly makes sense, because there was, at the very least, some form of human civilization on this planet, where it was probably built around the monument. The monument could be in a town square or something like that, the same way that you would put monuments today. And it makes you wonder, what happened here? My initial reaction was, Chief, what did you do? Because Locke really sounded pissed about this, and he really sounded confident, so whatever he was doing, he was believing that he was doing it for the right reasons, and he was doing it to create a better sort of environment in the end, that the ends justify the means sort of thing. And he draws on the chief, like he intends to kill him. Now, this may or may not contradict the original statement that he made to the Arbiter, that he's just hunting the chief. Now, he never said that he was going to hunt and kill him. He just said he was looking for him. And now that he's got him, may as well kill him. For Oni or for himself? Who's doing this? Who's ordering this? Who's the one who's really raising the gun in this scenario? How did John get here? Why did he drop? Who did he fight? Was it Locke? I don't know. There was a lot of things we didn't see in that trailer, just as much as the things that we did see. So, then came the announcement for the second trailer, that we didn't know what was happening. The second trailer, where we see things from John's perspective. And right away, seeing John speak so many lines, seeing the chief talk so much in such a short period of time, is a little bit off-putting, because he was really sort of the strong, silent type, and now we're seeing a big personality shift. Cortana's gone, so there's no one else to make words for him but himself. And of course, John sort of counters the "All Hail the Conquering Hero" speech, where he basically asked Locke if it's worth it. Check it.
Is this what you wanted? Is this what you were looking for? Was everything you've compromised, everything you've done, worth it? Was it? You've completed your mission, Spartan Locke. Mine is just beginning.
So something interesting to note here is that these two trailers seem to take place at different times. And the reason I say that is, if you want to go back and look, there are the statue of the chief. Now in the Locke trailer, it's pristine, well, more or less. And in the chief trailer, it's chipped, broken, and damaged. Why is this so? Because they probably take place at two different times. Some people postulate that maybe perhaps it's two different timelines, or maybe it's a choose your own adventure thing. Maybe you choose who lives or dies at the end. If that's the case, though, why do we have an apparently different time frame? It seems that, if we are assuming, of course, that it is a direct timeline, and one leads to another in some degree of continuity, that Locke corners Chief first and might let him live. Then, when Locke himself is in this location, the chief hunts him down and seriously contemplates, well, killing him. Like, well, your mission is over, but mine's just begun. And points his gun at Locke. Or is there a symbolic sort of interpretation of this? The fact that Locke is pristine. Well, the Locke statue is pristine, and the chief himself is damaged. Now, this could mean, of course, that Locke differentiates by that the statue is the image, but the man himself is the traitor, and that the statue represents what is supposed to be good about the Master Chief. It's supposed to be this heroic figure carved into the very earth itself, and represents something strong, something indomitable, versus the broken man who is shot down, lying at the foot, who is strongly suspected of some sort of betrayal. What sort of betrayal? I don't know. It's likely we're going to learn more come E3, or even before that, so who knows. But whereas in the Chiefs trailer, the statue being broken and damaged could mean that the Chief's reputation is tarnished. We've already established that the statue is supposed to be the ideal. What is a statue? It's supposed to be an idealization of an event or of a person that's supposed to be painting them in a good light. Why do we have a statue of Napoleon? To commemorate the fact that he was a great general. Why do we have like a statue of Martin Luther King Jr.? Because he was a great speaker and he advocated for civil rights. Well, if If the statue is the ideal, then a damaged statue means that ideal has been revealed to be tarnished and broken. And in that case, we could say that Chief himself, this role of a betrayer, of a broken hero, actually turns out the way that we think it turns out. And that potentially even killing Locke, if that is what's going to occur. That the Chief's heroism will vanish along with him. There's a lot of ways you could look into this. And there's probably maybe 4 or 5 ways that he could go back. Actually, I thought of something else. That it's been pointed out that the Chief tries to reach for a pistol when Locke has him in his sights, where he's basically trying to crawl through the gravel and tries to grab his gun when Locke has him under the barrel. This could mean that the Chief is, of course, defiant, which he is. And the Chief is just too stubborn to die, or at the very least refuses to not put up a fight. However, in Locke's trailer, he's just sitting there. He doesn't seem to really go after a weapon. This could mean that Locke's given up. Or perhaps Locke's too stoic, or, so to speak, willing to die on his feet. Or maybe it's supposed to represent how Locke works for a shadowy organization that's cowardly in the end. These are just incoherent thoughts. I'm looking into it, and I am sweating right now. It's a combination of the fact that my computer is in here, the door is closed, and the fact that I'm super excited as all hell. There's still a lot of time to go before E3. Many more moons, many more sleeps, many more weeks while we learn more about this game that we call Halo. And my screen just turned off there. But it's clear to me, though, that there's still a lot more delving into things. We still don't know the character of these men. And that's weird because we thought we knew John. Well, there's a slice of his personality that's coming out that's not familiar to us. And I, for one, am looking into it. I really want to see how this new personality develops. Is it a mistake? Or is it a good thing? Well, time will tell. Anyways, thanks very much for watching. Those were my thoughts on the matter. Hopefully you've enjoyed them, or maybe you come up with your own thoughts yourself. Please let me know if you did, because I'd love to share this sort of information. I'd love to talk about these sort of things. I mean, Halo is one of my favorite video game series of all time. And I'm gonna probably actually, before I forget, I actually want to say a couple words on Halo Online from Russia. Interesting, the fact that it's going for Halo 4 style visuals for the most part, but there are some original things. But it works on the Halo 3 engine, only available in Russia. Interesting, because, well, it's like, oh, Halo's on PC, that's awesome, and all that, yeah, but microtransactions, rented weapons, the fact that there is sprint in this game, the fact that there is a Promethean vision, it's visor, but it functions pretty much exactly like Promethean vision, armor abilities that are mapped to hotkeys on the keyboard, and generally the fact that this is looking like pretty much every page. Oh, that's right, weapons with different attachments. Something that, ooh, attachments bad. We don't like attachments. We don't like the fact that you take the scope off the battle rifle, or you're putting scopes on the battle rifle, or you're making a gun with iron sights on them, which may or may not be used. I haven't seen it yet. But this is interesting to me because people are saying that there is a fine line between what is Halo and what is not Halo. And people looked at Halo 4 and says, this shit isn't Halo. That's not Halo. We don't want armor abilities. We don't want loadouts and stuff like that. Yet this is exactly what it's actually in Halo Online. Exactly. So here's my question. Is the fact that it's on PC make it right? The fact that it's made with Halo 3's engine, does that make it right? Because when is it all right to criticize gameplay elements of one game and then accept it in another game, which is fine? Because people were falling over themselves, saying like, oh my god, Halo on PC, that's awesome. But it's like God. Something arms, tactical arms or something like that. I played it like a lot when I was a few years back. But anyways, those are my thoughts. It's great. Good to see new Halo, good to see new maps, good to see new weapons, good to see new ways that those weapons are implemented, but confusing, the reactions to it. And, well, I don't know, if it ever comes to the US, I might play it. It's free, why not? But now I'm done. Now I'm done. Anyways, thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much for sticking with this. And please leave a comment if you have something you want to discuss or something that you want to show to further everyone's knowledge on these events that we have seen transpire today. And as always, I'll see you in the next episode. This is Actual, and I am signing off.